And with that being said, though, I want to welcome everybody to today's workshop. If you're watching this recording, you will find the link to join the workshop in the YouTube description. For everyone who is joining live, I'm going to put the link right now in the Zoom chat box. If you can click on that link and then sign up, the workshop today will be on the Codio platform, okay? That is where we house all of our courses here at UTeach. We like to use this platform. You will be getting assignments that you can then do on your own after the workshop is over to learn even more about AI, okay? So while you guys are joining the actual workshop, let me run through the way the workshop is going to be structured. Okay. Over the next 2 days, we are going to take you through a lot. Okay. We want to be able to catch you up on AI. How did we get to this point? Basics on prompt development and things like that. And then we want to take it forward. Okay. We want to get into building agents, building bots. Okay. We are then going to get into assessment strategies. We're actually going to build our own type of RAG bots. That's actually where you get to input your own information and build your own personalized chat bots. We'll talk about that. We'll get into ethical AI use, all right, which is really what the struggle is in schools is how do we teach students to use AI ethically? We're going to talk about digital assistants, okay? You can use ChatGPT or you can use other tools in order to implement AI in your schools. But, you really have to decide which are the tools we want to spend money on and invest in, and which are ones that we don't need to invest in. All right. And we'll talk about that as well. And we'll even talk about how we need to restructure the way we are planning our students' career paths because of AI is changing the skills that employers are looking for. All right. And we'll discuss that as well. So we have a lot that we're going to cram into 2 days. Today, we have a 90-minute session. And then at the end, I have 30 minutes of office hours. So if you have any questions during the workshop, just drop them in the chat box while I'm facilitating. I'll pause and answer them. Please don't actually unmute and ask questions. If you have any technical questions, like I said, I'm available at the end to review your agent to see if you made any mistakes, any errors that I can correct for you, or we can talk and do a deep dive into anything that I discussed, okay? So I hope you had enough time to join the workshop, all right? And with that being said, I will get started. All right, and we're gonna start with day one. All right, now day two will be enabled tomorrow. All right, I didn't want people to get too far ahead. We're covering a lot of material. Now, the goal for me in this workshop is pretty much twofold, okay? The first thing is I want to get you out of your AI comfort zone. Okay, I want to get you out of the AI comfort zone. I want you to try something new. Because that's really where we learn, okay? That's where we start to get a little bit of anxiety. You see something you've never seen before, but that's how we build that growth mindset. After we walk you through how to accomplish these tasks, then you'll basically build that growth mindset and be able to learn more on your own about AI. All right, and the other thing I'm hoping to do today is to give you your AI aha moment, okay? One of the main things as a school leader is making sure that students and teachers and staff and even yourselves use AI in an ethical way. And the easiest way to use AI ethically is to basically have your aha moment where you see it as more than just an answer machine. Now, it's easy for older people to have these aha moments because a lot of people have already done the training, the work to become a teacher. When you're writing a lesson plan and you have to align that lesson plan to, certain TEKs or certain standards. Well, that used to take a teacher hours, if not days to do for one lesson. And then when AI can do that for you in 1 minute or 2 minutes tops, that's your aha moment. And as an adult, as an educator, as a professional, you say to yourself, wow, I don't have to use my time anymore doing such a minimal task like that. What can I now use my time for that is more meaningful professionally? And that's where we have to get our students. And in order to get them there, they have to have that aha moment. Okay. And it's hard for younger people. All right. And that's what we're going to work on. So, the way we're going to structure today is we're going to back up. And like I said, first we have to catch up. And I want to talk to everybody about how we got here. How did they invent ChatGPT? Because the really interesting part of that story is it was playing out in front of everybody's eyes the whole time, but we really never noticed it because we just saw technology incrementally progressing until it just made a giant leap. Um, we are then going to get into ChatGPT 4 and writing really good prompts because there is an entire skill set on how to write prompts that give you the best feedback. But then, unfortunately, for people who are just starting out to AI and feeling comfortable with it, they already threw us a curveball. There's already ChatGPT 5. So, we will talk about the difference today between ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 5 and the different ways you need to talk to each model. And then I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone. I'm going to show you how to create an agent. We're going to create an agent that is going to automatically draft email responses to your Gmail accounts. That's right. You're going to do that today. Okay. And this is where we're going to start. Okay. Because I want to build up these basic skills because the truth is when I ask people, do you use AI on an everyday basis and how, proficient do you feel using AI? They feel proficient until they realize what they don't know. And that is a lot. Okay. So with that being said, okay, I want to jump right in to what we're going to be working on for today. All right. So just one last time, because we did just have somebody jump on the workshop. I just want to put the link to join the workshop in the Zoom chat box. And just let everyone know again, I will be sending out the recording of this when it's complete. So if you have to hop off at any time, I understand. And if you have any questions, please just drop them in the Zoom chat box and I will answer them as I go along. All right, so let's get started with day one. And we're going to start with prompt your way through the story of ChatGPT. Now, what we're going to learn today is this whole entire ChatGPT AI revolution, like most other things, it wasn't invented by ChatGPT. Okay, OpenAI didn't invent the technology or anything to do with it. That's what makes it such a fascinating story. Just like Apple, really didn't create the touchscreen phone, but then they invented the iPhone, which is the best version of it. It's kind of the way ChatGPT stole the the AI model from Google, and we'll talk about that. Okay. But first, I just want to introduce you to me, all right, and UTeach. So, hi, everybody. My name is Jason. Okay. I'm the lead educator success specialist for the UTeach Institute. Okay. And what is the UTeach Institute? The UTeach Institute is located at the University of Texas at Austin. And I'm part of the UTeach computer science team. And for the past 10 years, okay, we've had a huge impact in CS education. Now, specifically, what do? We create curriculum that teachers can use in the classroom with their students. And we have an APCSP course, an APCSA course, and a Foundation of Cybersecurity course. All right. And all of our courses are on the same platform that you're using today for my workshop. Right. And that's the Codio platform. And we use Codio for a number of reasons. You're about to find out today. And that is everything's built into the platform. Everything we need is right here. All right. But more importantly, when we teach students in the classroom, just like I'm going to show you in this workshop, we want the students to use AI. But Codio has built-in AI guardrails. All right. It has an AI tutor, which will help the students, but won't tell them the answer. It has code playback, so I can watch students typing their code. All right, we have behavior insights, so we can see if they copy and paste code where it comes from. And the reason I'm telling you this is because it gets back to the foundation of what we do here at UTeach CS. And that is, We use technology in a way to help students learn, but it won't tell them the answer. Okay. And we've been doing this for the last 2 or 3 years. We had AI built into our platform for the past 2 years. This is nothing new to us. And the reason we're doing this workshop with you guys today is because at the University of Texas, we're collaborating with a lot of other people trying to figure out how do we get this AI ecosystem into the K through 12 setting in the best way possible. So why are we not charging $1,500 for this workshop when other people at the University of Texas do? It's because we value your feedback. We want your feedback after this workshop. We want to give you guys some AI knowledge, and in return, we want you to give us feedback so that we can work with other people at the University of Texas and come up with the best way to integrate this AI ecosystem at the K through 12 level, and not just in the state of Texas, but across America. We're a national program, even though we're located here at UT. Okay, so we're innovating. We're currently writing a middle school curriculum. I'm already 4 assignments deep into an AI curriculum. You guys are going to be doing some of those assignments today. But like I said, we want your feedback. Okay, because if we're ever going to develop effective AI policies that school leaders can go back into their schools and institute, we need your feedback. Okay. If we can have a good framework for AI education, if we can come up with new AI proof assessment strategies, we're going to need your feedback. All right. So that's why we're doing this 2-day workshop. That's why we're trying to give you guys some good AI knowledge. All right. And if you really enjoy it, we can always come to your schools and do this with your staff as well. All right. So just one last thing about us here at UTeach. Okay. The UTeach CS team, we are a not-for-profit organization tucked away in the College of Natural Sciences. Okay. What does that mean? My last name isn't Manning, neither is anyone who I work with. Okay. We don't play football, so we don't get football money. All right. We don't receive millions of dollars from the university. Our passion is purely rooted in advancing computer science education. We collaborate with the CS department, the School of Education on grants and workshops and projects, but really, we're here to try to just make a difference. Okay. So if you want to learn more about UTeach, you can visit our website at the bottom of the screen. But this is not a commercial. I am here to help you guys. So let's get started. Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is every single image you are going to see in my workshop was created with AI. I used Google Gemini. Now, Google Gemini is their version of ChatGPT. Okay. It is the best at creating images. It's not even close. And you'll find out during this assignment we're about to do why that is so. Okay. But the reason I included these images in here is because we're going to learn about AI work slop. And AI work slop is exactly what it sounds like. That image looks awesome. Okay. It would take a graphic designer days to do something like that. And AI was able to spit it out in a matter of seconds to me. But I do this on purpose. When you look at my awesome images that I created with AI in this workshop, I want you to look at the text closely. I want you to look at things with a fine eye. There are mistakes all over the place. Okay. AI is not good at spelling in images. Okay. And I wanted to leave these images in here so that you could see that. So you start to develop the eye that an administrator, that a school leader should have. And that is, I want my staff to use AI. I want the kids to use AI. But man, I want them to use it the correct way, and I want them to iterate, and I don't want them to be lazy. And if something is incorrect, I want them to keep iterating and iterating till it looks correct. And if they can't get it right, well, then they can't use it. Okay. So AI readiness among school leaders. Let's take a look at what's going on currently. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side of the screen is this great study that just was done by Carnegie Learning. Okay. And it basically, and that's a lot of people, it's based on 656 total respondents. Yeah, most of them are teachers, and that's great because in the end, school leaders are responsible for teachers, and that's really who we need to train and get familiar with this. All right. 9% were building administrators and 6% were district administrators. So overall, we got a good 15% of school leaders and then 85% of teachers who filled out the following. Now, on your own, you can do a deep dive into this information because you're going to need information like this when you're coming up with policies for your school. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to take the time to do the research for you and pull it out so that you don't have to do the research yourself. So let's just talk about adoption and usage. Okay. I'll make it a little bigger here because not everyone's eyes are as good as they used to be, like mine. So, principals. 60% of principals are using AI tools for administrative tasks. And if all you're doing is telling ChatGPT to write this email to a parent of a student and then say this in it, that's fine. All right. Nobody is going to judge your level of AI use here. If you don't know how to prompt, that's fine. If you prompt like a king or a champ, that's fine as well. Everyone's going to learn something new along the way. All right. Now, teachers are using it regularly for lesson plan or instruction 25% of the time. That is incredibly low. Okay. Your teacher should be using it to design their lessons 100% of the time. Because, like I tell teachers in my workshops that are specifically designed for them, you know, our curriculum is based on project-based instruction. Our lesson plans are written 50-minute class periods, project-based instruction. Because of AI, you can take my lesson plan that we wrote for our curriculum and then just put it into ChatGPT and say, rewrite the following lesson plan for the instructional strategy of blended learning flipped classroom. And I want you to also redo it for 70 minutes instead of 50 minutes. When you do that and then just put a colon and paste in our lesson plan, it can redo it for flipped classroom and just like that. So what I teach my teachers to do when I'm in a workshop with them is take the lesson plan, pick 4 different instructional strategies, and ask AI to redo it. And then choose whichever one of those you think is good. And then that way, instead of having one lesson style that you do every day in your classroom that the students become, routinely involved in, which is great for the teacher sometimes because who doesn't love routine, but it's boring as well. The teacher can say, today we're going to do flipped classroom. Tomorrow we're going to do rotation station learning. Tomorrow we're going to do project-based instruction. And they can just keep running their lesson plans through one after another, coming up with really innovative ways of doing classroom instruction on a daily basis. So when I see 25%, man, that's low. Now, district leaders, 97% have experimented with tools. I definitely believe that. But experimenting and implementing are completely different. And we're going to find out why right here. Okay. Even though 87% say they're familiar or very familiar with AI, 70%, 69% say they don't have a formal AI policy, right? And there's a lot of things to be worried about. I mean, we talk about here at UT, FERPA compliance with ChatGPT. And if I'm going to show you guys how to upload spreadsheets and workbooks of student information and then ask AI to take the data and make predictions on what's going to happen next, like is attendance going to increase and decrease? Do you think reading scores are going to continue to go up or down? I can't use AI for that if it's remembering the student names, you know what I mean? Now, obviously, if we're not using names and we're using ID numbers, that's fine. But, there's a lot of anxiety with making AI policy. And that's one of the reasons you guys are here. We want to talk about AI policy. We want to brainstorm ideas. We want to show you what we've come up with so that you can give us feedback if you do it in your schools and in your classroom. Okay. Attitudes towards AI. Okay. 61% support AI in K through 12 education. 72% support AI powered tools for school leaders. All right. I know all the teachers are using Magic School AI. I mean, I will tell you right now that any tool I ask you to use in this workshop, number one, I don't get paid by anybody but the University of Texas, so I have no skin in the game. And I will not ask you to purchase anything. I only use free applications or ones that have free trials that you do not need to put any credit cards in or anything like that to use. Okay, so I just wanted to say that right off the bat. Any feedback I give you is totally based on my interactions with teachers and things like that. So I will tell you, I don't use Magic School AI. I do not like Magic School AI. I think it limits what teachers are possible It is kind of like a template on top of AI. And why would I want a template when I can just talk directly to the AI and have it do whatever I want? All right. So, what are the key challenges school leaders are facing, and why are you probably here with me for the next couple of days? A lack of training and professional development for school leaders, for staff, for teachers, even for students. Um, Policy gaps and unclear governance. Nobody wants to take the lead, right? Nobody wants to be the one that's first out there to say, here's the AI policy you need to follow. We're trying to be the first here in Texas. We're going to work on that. All right. And concerns about equity and responsible use. And that's really what I'm focused on here is we need to figure out the most equitable way of using AI and the most responsible way. All right. Because you'll learn tomorrow that one of the most critical skills that employers are looking for from recent graduates is, do you know how to use AI in an ethical and professional way? Okay. They don't want work slop. They want somebody who knows how to use it. All right. So that's what we're going to focus on. That's probably why you're here, is because of this data. All right. And like I was just saying before, just really quickly, okay, it's not just ChatGPT anymore. I'm going to talk to you about Mosaic, Notebook LM. I'm going to talk to you about Google Gemini. We're going to use N8N to generate agents. So yeah, it's no longer just ChatGPT. And really, when you're in a workshop with me for the next couple of days, what you really want to learn is, you know, which ones am I willing to spend the money on and which ones can I just kind of use for free? Okay. So, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, and if you're spending money on Canva or Magic School AI, I would not be. All right. So, good information. Look through this document on the right. It is hard to come by surveys, studies, anything that's recent in anything to do with AI. So, this is really a good thing to use and review on your own time. All right. Let's continue. Okay. So, man, look at these wonderful images that Google Gemini and me iterated our way through. All right, we're going to get right into it. Prompt your way through the story of ChatGPT. Now, we are going to talk tomorrow in the beginning a little bit about assessment strategies, right? And not just CS assessment strategies, but in general, just regular assessment strategies. And what we're going to talk about is new AI proof assessment strategies, different ways of doing things in the classroom. I support hundreds of teachers across the country through UTeach. Okay. And I hear it first and foremost. My students don't want to read. So we redid our curriculum to do more videos. And then it's like, well, they don't want to watch the videos. All right. And then it's like, well, so how are they going to learn? So when we go through this assignment that I'm going to lead you through, I'm going to ask you in a separate tab to keep open whatever AI you're using. Okay. And I'll talk about that in just 1 second. Okay. Because we're going to do our first of our new kind of instructional AI proof assessment ways of learning. Okay. And we're going to prompt our way through learning. So, what does that mean? Okay. What it means is the students, you guys, my students, are going to discover the answers to the questions on your own. Okay. You'll write prompts into ChatGPT to uncover the facts and the stories and the explanations to what I want you to learn. Because really, isn't that what learning is? It's a journey, and we're trying to get the person from point A to point B. All right. Because we need them to get to point B and to understand all the concepts along the line. And that's the way this assignment is laid out. It is laid out for students to prompt their way, learn a little bit about the topic, but then we provide them with the information as a final checklist for them to understand and get what we want them to get out of the assignment. So, why do your students love this? Why are you going to love this? Because you get to discover things on your own. You get to put the prompt in and then read. All right. I'm going to talk to you because this is a workshop and I'm just going to talk to you and give you hints and talk to you, but you can do this on your own. All right. And more importantly, you're going to learn how to ask better questions. And one thing that I'm trying to work out in my head, and I want to work out with all of you, is what is the core skill we're supposed to be teaching kids going forward with AI? So I have 15 years of K through 12 education under my belt. I spent 10 years in Brooklyn, New York, in the Red Hook projects teaching kids, high school, right? And when I started, it was questioning, man. We got to turn these students into the best questioners possible. Essential questions, depth of knowledge, okay? And then it became problem solving, critical thinking skills, project based learning, working in groups, okay? Culturally responsive pedagogy, everyone's opinion matters, working together to find the answers. Well, now what's the biggest skill? I'm trying to figure it out. I do PD for teachers. Now, with AI telling us the answer, what is the skill we need to develop as school leaders? Is it simply creativity? It could be just that. Do we want kids to just be creative? Because if AI is going to do all the work, right, the legwork, all the tasks, well, then really maybe it is just about being the most creative person and you will be the most successful. Okay. But I don't think that's it. I think the real answer is, and I keep coming back to this, you need to use AI and then ask yourself, what skills are important enough for me to keep doing by myself to build those self-centered human inquiry skills that make me a successful member of society? And which ones can I pass off to AI, right? If I'm learning how to read, I need to do that. If I need to change the tire on my car, I'll ask ChatGPT how to do that. So, and this is what we need to instill in our students. The moral dilemma and the moral decision is, am I going to do that? Because morality is when nobody's watching, do you make the proper decision? And that's what we need to have our students do. That's what you need to do as school leaders. Okay. So they'll explore at their own pace. Okay. And they're going to see how AI can basically help them learn, create, and think. So they're going to use a launch prompt. We're going to have follow-up explanation prompts. There's going to be a review section, a let's wrap it up. And then they're going to have to give us little feedback. And I call those their neural notes. It's a way of tracking what you learn. And neural notes is a little pun, play on words for neural networks. So I just want to give you 1 minute quickly. If you've never used AI before, you can click on ChatGPT right now, and you could sign up for a free account. Okay? Now, I want you to look at ChatGPT, though. It looks very similar to what I'm going to be using today, and that is Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft owns 27% of OpenAI, who's the creator of ChatGPT. Microsoft's AI is ChatGPT, and that's what I'm going to be using because at the University of Texas, this is what we are told to use. So whenever I say ChatGPT and you see this pop up, it's the same thing. If your business establishment or what you're using at home or right now in my workshop, use whatever you'd like. I also use Google Gemini. I actually think Google Gemini is the best. After I do this assignment with you, you might think it's the best too, because everything that the technology that ChatGPT is built on was invented by Google. That's right. Right? Google loves to point out that the T in ChatGPT stands for transformer, which was invented by Google. And transformer is the magic box. When everyone says, yeah, we don't know exactly how it works, but it works, that's the transformer. Okay, so whether it's Copilot, ChatGPT, or Google Gemini, that's what we'll be using. And I want you to open up a tab so that as we're doing this assignment, you can follow along with me. And remember, I'll be sending out the recording, so I don't want you to feel like you have to keep up. If you just want to watch what I'm doing, that's totally fine as well. All right, so let's get started. Okay. Now, very interesting. I didn't know this, but according to OpenAI's use, you're not supposed to use ChatGPT with anyone under the age of 13. So if you're a middle school teacher and that could be an issue, you could model it in front of the classroom, but technically they suggest they don't use it. Okay. Instead, they suggest you do teacher-led prompting, group-like exploration, prompt planning, and reflection and discussion. So I give you all this, okay? we're going to go through this relatively quickly. I want you to learn the story, but at any time you can work on this assignment on your own to learn even more. So let's get started. Okay. So 5 acts. I'm going to teach you in 5 acts how we got here. And like I said, it's important for you to understand this because in order to come up with policy, if you understand the story, then you can go back and develop better policy. And the story is awesome. I can't underestimate that. If you're not sharing the story with your students, with your staff, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So the powder keg moment of AI happens in 2012. And believe it or not, it's a great old American ingenuity story. All right. And it happens with a grad student named Alex Karpovsky. But I'm going to stop right there. And instead, if you scroll down, there's a section here called Launch Prompt. And it says, what is AlexNet and why was it a big deal in AI? And you could just copy that, go to your AI, and paste it in. This is prompt your way through learning. It's so that you can discover the information and start to learn about it on your own. So when I type, what is AlexNet? It tells me it was developed by Alex Krichevsky, Ilya Sutskever, and Jeffrey Hinton. It's a neural network architecture designed for image classification. It consists of blah, 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 blah. All right. Now, you might say to yourself, boy, this is pretty blah. This is pretty basic. We are going to learn how to write better prompts in 1 minute. All right, I lied, in 10 minutes, but that's not what we're doing right now. Right now, I just want you to start pulling information from the AI. All right. So in my assignment, I have the following follow-up exploration prompts. How did AlexNet perform in the ImageNet competition? Who created AlexNet? All these other follow-up prompts. Okay. But let's do the little preview story. Okay. It's too good of a story not to talk about. So, AlexNet. Okay. Alex is in his parents' house working on his grad project. And what's his grad project? He's designing a neural network for image classification. Now, let me back up a second. Neural networks is nothing new. It's been around since the 1950s. And a neural network is exactly what it sounds like. It would be like a giant computer brain, okay, that can communicate with one another. But really, right off the bat, it's a great thing in like philosophy, in principle, it's a great idea. But they realize in 1950 and 1960 and the 70s and 80s, it's a dead end. They'll never have the processing power necessary, even using Moore's law. And I don't want to be technical in this workshop. That's not what we're here for. But even with processing power doubling every year, they would never have enough processing power to make a neural network that works based on using regular processing chips that are available out there. So Alex goes home. He needs to build a neural network and he needs some chips. So he goes to his local Best Buy and he needs chips that can do higher level math. And nobody's ever thought of this before. But since he's a big gamer and he likes to play video games, he decides to use graphic chips, gaming chips. And there's only one company in 2012, there's only one company today that makes gaming chips. And it's a very small little niche company, not worth a lot of money, called NVIDIA. And back in the day, NVIDIA was known for this. A computer which had a see-through side that had neon lights coming out of it that looked like something from another planet. And all you knew were kids would have really cool computer chairs and they'd play video games on it. And what Alex decides to do is, I'm going to use these graphic chips, which are designed to do high-level math calculations, which is what video games are. And I'm going to use it for a neural network. Okay? And what happens? Okay? Why were GPUs so important for training AlexNet? Let me go back into my AI and ask it that question. And my AI will start to tell me. Because it can do a high computational load. It does parallelism. It does training speed. All right. Now that's all great, but I like to talk to my AI too. Can you actually reword that for like a sixth grader to understand it? All right, there we go. That makes it better for me. Imagine you have a giant puzzle with millions of pieces and you need to put it together really fast. A regular computer is like one working on a puzzle. A GPU is like having thousands of helpers working at the same time. All right. So this is the powder keg moment. And you see this let's wrap it up section. This is the part of prompt your way through learning that we need to have in order to validate the instructional strategy that the students will get all the information we want them. Because once you go off to AI, it's a wild goose chase. It's like the Oregon Trail. You can just go a million different ways. So that's why I provide here, click on the arrow. We provide the facts that we want the students to get from it. Okay. So yeah, what happened? Okay. It doesn't sound like a lot, but because they were using graphic chips, they were able to almost double the rate that it was able to do image recognition. Now, on the right side of the screen, this is AlexNet from 2012. That's it. And at the bottom here, I have an activity that you can do on your own time, or if you want, tomorrow you'll get all of these activities as PDFs. You can give them to your staff or you can roll them out to your students to do during CS Ed Week. All right. But let me just break it down for you. AlexNet was pretty simple. You would feed a lot of images into a neural network, and it would be able to break it down into little pixels, little tiny dots. We know what pixels are. And it would be able to recognize the image by grouping it with similar images. So if I want to look for a bird and I want to predict, so what's going on in AlexNet? Okay, you see right here, here's my first layer. Okay, my first layer looks at the image. And because pixels are red, green, and blue, it's going to break it down into a red image, a green image, and a blue image. And what it's doing inside this neural network is it's comparing it to thousands and thousands and millions and billions of other images until it finds matches. Okay. And it does it in layers. So it does it in one big, and then it narrows it down again, and then it narrows it down again, and it keeps going. And this is just a great visualization until at the very end, in that very last network, you can find the actual answer to what you're looking for. Okay. That's what Alex invented. Nobody had ever done it before. And because of using these graphic chips, he was able to develop a neural network that worked at twice the level it worked before. So one of the things you should be saying in your mind when I just said that was NVIDIA. Little gaming company that made graphic chips. NVIDIA today is worth $5 trillion. It's the most valuable company on the planet because it makes the AI chips that everyone needs to use to build their neural networks. And now you know why they're worth $5 trillion. Yes, because this grad student named Alex was innovative enough to go to his local Best Buy and buy a couple of NVIDIA gaming chips to build his neural network. And with that, we have the AI era. I love this story. It's just such an innocent moment of American ingenuity. So now let's move on. And let's bring Google into this story, okay? Because we're going to move fast here, okay? Google in 2012, the same time that Alex is building his neural network using NVIDIA chips, well, they're already 6 years into their grand plan, and that is organizing all the world's data. And if I needed to start somewhere with my students, it starts with something called the Google Cat paper. Okay. And you might want to even go in here and you could even ask Google. I mean, you could ask your AI. Tell me more about the Google cat paper and how it had an impact on AI. Okay. And it'll talk to you about the Google cat paper. Okay. But I'm going to back up. All right. Because Google was doing something way before 2012 hit. Okay. And this started back in 2006. And if you look on the right side of the screen, we have a beautiful journey of Google. And I like to start in 2006. In 2006, Google does two things. Google Translate hits the scene, and it's a really big increase in anything that we've ever seen in language translation before it. But the other things that they do in 2006 was Google bought something called YouTube. Why did Google buy YouTube in 2006? Now, I want you guys to come back in time with me. Let's go back in time to a really fun time, 2006. Think about what YouTube was back then. There was no homepage. There was no feed. It was a place that just had videos. And what did you do? You would like grab a link to a video, and then on your web page, you would put like a Google video, a YouTube video, and it would just link back to YouTube. And YouTube was a mess. There was pirated videos, there was copyright infringements, but it was there. And Google decides to buy it for $1 billion. So why do they buy YouTube? Right? They buy YouTube because they wanted to organize all the world's data. And what does YouTube have? Videos. Millions upon millions upon millions of videos. And this is going to fast forward to why Google is pretty much the leader in image and video AI generation right now. At the time they bought this because they just wanted data. But in fast forwarding to today, Google, by owning YouTube, has all the video it needs to train its AI models. And the more data you feed into it, the better your models are. So starting all the way back in 2006, they're going to start organizing the world's data. They buy YouTube, all right? And then in 2012, after Alex does his big innovation, Google piggybacks off of his innovation, the unlimited number of cat videos that they can find in their YouTube database. And they are able to take AlexNet and bring it to like the next level. And they publish the Google Cat paper, okay? And they're able to train AI at scale, okay? And they continue down that path. And we're going to continue down that path in the next activity, all right? So they start to use all this data and they start to use AI. And you don't realize it, but you start to see the results happening before your eyes. So let's move into our next section here, okay? Neural networks take over your timeline, okay? Well, if you are Alex and his team and you invent AlexNet, and it changes basically the AI infrastructure of the world, what do you do next? Well, next, you do one of two things. You either start your own company and have Google buy it, or you go work for Google. Because at the time, all the best scientists work in Google somehow, whether it's part-time through their university and then they do a Google apprenticeship, they're all involved. And Google is where all the scientists get to talk about their work, okay? So some of the members of Alex's team go and found a company called DeepMind. And Google flat out buys DeepMind. And the other scientists come to work for Google. And the next big jump that we have is DeepMind is able to teach AI to win at AlphaGo. Now, AlphaGo is right here on the right side of your screen. If you've never played it, there is a game at the bottom of the screen, all right, that walks you through how to play it, all right? But the reason that it's important for our story is this is when we start to see that they can start making predictions. Okay. AI has the ability to predict what's going to happen next. And you already see this starting to play out. Okay. Because in 2017, Google, who's constantly building the cat paper, the neural network, all the scientists are working for them. In 2017 is the big breakthrough. The transformer is invented by Google. Okay. What is the transformer? Well, let me show it to you here on the right side of the screen because you're going to see this. It is basically predicting the next word. So if I were to say something like, I'm driving and I went through the stop sign and, all right, I hit generate. It's going to take, the transformer takes what I wrote and then predicts what would be the most probable outcome of the next word needed in my sentence. Now, this sounds like something that magically appeared in your Google search bar right around 2017. You'd start typing in a search inquiry and it would kind of predict the next word that you wanted to type in. This is because Google had invented the transformer. And this is the magic box. This is the T in ChatGPT. And after inventing it, you could see here it says the most probable outcome for this sentence would be there. So I went through the stop sign and there, and if I hit generate, it'll go to the next one, was a, and you can see as I keep clicking generate, it picks the next best word in the model. Okay. So this is how a transformer works. And you could see it already seeping into Google products. So after all of this, you might be asking yourself, why is it not called Google GPT? All right. Or how does ChatGPT basically swoop out and invent this from Google? Well, number one, Google is a for-profit organization. Clearly, they're one of the most profitable companies on the planet. But Google has AdSense, which is Google search, which is the most profitable business model on the planet. And even though they had invented the transformer, there's argument inside Google whether they understood the impact of what they had invented or they knew what they had invented but didn't want to kill the financial golden goose, which was feeding all the profits to Google, which is search. But for whatever reason, since they're all scientists and scholars and professors at universities, they publish all their work. They say, hey, look, we made the cat paper. Hey, look, we've done the transformer. And that's in very similar to fashion where Apple doesn't invent anything really, but does it better than everyone else and owns the market. OpenAI comes in and says, this is the future. We need to create a chatbot. It'll do everything that Google search already does without using Google search, and we could steal the business from Google. And therein lies the irony of our story. In 2023, ChatGPT storms on the scene and it goes viral. All right. And what I want you to understand is how does ChatGPT work? Okay. Because it's a fascinating story. I don't want to waste your time with it here. All right. If you go to the Let's Wrap It Up section, it talks about how, like, the technical stuff. OpenAI was supposed to be a not-for-profit organization. They need to make it for profit in order to spend the necessary $1 trillion, trillion dollars, to build out the compute necessary to work. All right. So, and then they go to Microsoft. It's a whole great story. But anyway, I want to collapse down. I want you to look at the right side of the screen. Okay. How does ChatGPT works? It breaks down things into tokens. So I want to learn more about volcanoes. Okay. What it does behind the scenes is it breaks things down into tokens. So you could see here, OpenAI or ChatGPT will break this down into 8 tokens, okay? And similar to what I showed you in the previous page, it's going to take the most probable outcome of a token, and that's how these models work. So you can see here, how does it work? I want to learn more about volcanoes, okay? And it'll break it down into more than what we saw in the previous page. So the point of this first assignment I'm reviewing with you guys in this workshop is it tells you the background story. It leads you up to where we are today, and it helps answer a lot of the questions that make this an interesting story. And one of the biggest things I want you to focus on is when we get here to Act 3, okay? Act 3 is where does the technology go and how does it become profitable? And the funny thing is that I talk about how you see it appearing in Google search, but the real place where AlexNet makes the biggest impact is in YouTube, in Instagram, in Facebook. Now, I want you to think back to what we talked about earlier, what YouTube used to look like. Now, what is YouTube today? The reason YouTube is what it is today is because of AlexNet. It took all those YouTube videos and it was able to use neural networks to watch every single video. And then after it watched every single video, the networks were able to tag them. This is not only a car video, but it's a sports car video. It's a BMW sports car video. It's a BMW sports car video that would be appealing to 19 to 28-year-olds. And the more tag that neural networks and the technology could give to these videos, to these images, they were able to create your feed. That's right. And all the scientists who worked on neural networks became rich beyond their wildest dreams because they were hired by YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the other social media companies to develop your feeds. That's right. That's where this technology first appeared. It created the feeds in your social media accounts because it could recognize images and videos. And then what did it do next? It was able to recognize words, language, until we got to ChatGPT. So that's what makes this story so relatable to everybody. All right, from AlexNet to gamers to NVIDIA to, showing up into your social media feeds. Now you know where those feeds came from. And to wrap it up, YouTube is now worth more than all the cable companies put together. Think about it. You probably use YouTube more than you do your cable company. Okay. And this is exactly how we got there through neural networks and the buildup of artificial intelligence. Okay. And that is the first thing I want to dive into today, because by introducing prompting as a way of learning, understanding the story, the background, make it relatable to not only you as a school leader, but to your staff. Okay. It helps make it more relatable than to your students. Okay. But now, the reason I didn't want to put a lot of prompts in while I was showing you that is because now we are going to focus in on, okay, prompt building. And we're going to do this relatively quick, okay? I'm going to walk you through what are the differences, how to write really good prompts, what's the difference between ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 5, and then, I want to walk you through how to build your own bot, all right? And like I said in the beginning, we are meeting tomorrow. If I have to push something back to tomorrow, no big deal. All right, so let's open up our next assignment called Level Up Your Prompts from Basic to Beast Mode. Now, you might have noticed when you put into Alex, into ChatGPT, tell me about AlexNet, what we got was something that was pretty technical, right? You could see it right here. It was informative, okay? but very technical. And then you saw that when I said, well, can you actually reword it for like a sixth grader? Came back with something that a sixth grader can read. Okay. And the reason I stopped there is because I didn't want to jump the gun, because I didn't want to jump the gun to this assignment. Okay. So let's do it. Let's prompt it like it's hot, prompt it like it's hot. Now, the first thing I want to let you know is that is not Snoop Doggy Dog. No, 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 no. Google Gemini refused to make me an image of Snoop Dogg saying prompt it like it's hot for my prompting assignment. But if I did put in, can you please generate an image that's friendly and supportive and entertaining for a high school student that shows an African American male with dreadlocks who's on the thin side that has a dog on his t-shirt, and he has a microphone and he's at a DJ table, and I want him to be saying prompt it like it's hot. They'll do that for you. All right. So let's prompt it like it's hot. All right. Because like Snoop Dogg says, if the prompt ain't right, you got to make it tight. Probably he said that. I don't know if he actually said that. All right, so let's get into it. What is a prompt? Okay. A prompt is simply you telling the AI what you want it to do. Okay. I always say to people, like, man, we have R2D2 and C3PO. It happened overnight. We don't have the cool robotic body, but we can talk to R2D2. We can talk to C3PO. All right. And as you know from Star Wars movies, the better you talk to your droid, the better your droid works. Okay. So just like R2D2 helped Luke Skywalker blow up the Death Star. Okay. I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to take down school challenges with precision. Okay. So what's a prompt? Okay. Think of it as a super smart instruction. Okay. The force is strong with a well-written prompt. I guess copyright infringement does not apply to droids. There's R2. Go figure. All right. So now, here's the 5 steps to writing a prompt. You don't have to take a class on it. You don't have to spend money on it. You can learn it from me for free. Here it is. How to write a great prompt. Okay. First and foremost, be specific. Okay. You are not explaining how gravity works using a skateboard trick from Tony Hawk. So you could say, how does gravity work? How does gravity work using an example of an apple falling off a tree? Okay. Or you can be very specific. So, how does gravity work? And then it tells me how gravity works. Okay. Or I can say, explain how gravity works using a skateboarding trick from Tony Hawk. So let me put that in instead. And you will notice all I do is talk, cut, and paste into my AI. All right. And now look what it says. Imagine Tony's doing a kick flip off a half pipe. Now, you could see how much more engaging it is just because we did one iteration. Okay. I like to always say, if somebody grabbed you 5 years ago and said, hey, we have this thing and it'll do 80% of your work, and I'll give it to you as long as you promise to do 20% of it, you would have jumped all over it. So I'm asking you to let AI do 80% of the work, but please do the 20% of the lead work and iterate, iterate, iterate till you get a really good final response. So that's way better than tell me about gravity. But let's say, who is this for? Okay. Oh, all right. Who's it for? I need you to make it for something that a 9th grade student can understand, but that 9th grade student reads on a 7th grade level. Very important. The more details I give, the better it's going to be. Okay. Now, what's our next? Break it into steps. Okay. Pick a style. Use examples. So, what am I saying? Keep giving it more details. The beautiful thing about prompt writing in ChatGPT 4 is it's a reasoning model. You talk to it the way you talk to either another person or your therapist, right? I jokingly say that, but here's a perfect example, okay? Can you now redo this for an audience of middle school students who also have IEPs. So I'm going to need at least some sort of supporting document that tells me the two main points. I also need you to add more details of this assignment because there's not enough details. It also needs to look prettier. It also needs to be fun and engaging. I need it to be scaffolded in more detail. Okay. And you could see the drastic difference, okay, that you're going to see based on the more details you feed into it. Okay. So most people already know, yeah, Jason, this is nothing new. I know we have to write detailed prompts. Well, let's talk about our power up words. Okay. These are the power up words that I suggest people use. Okay. Now, you might have heard me say, make it fun, make it engaging. So if you're doing something for school, easy to understand, interactive, visual, step by step, scaffolded, hands on. These are all words you should be using in your prompts. Okay, for style, don't use funny. AI is not funny. It thinks it's funny, it's not funny. And that's the worst type of funny. That's what gets you fired. Okay, so don't say funny. Entertaining, amusing might be better choices of words to use. But for style, it's casual, it's creative, it's playful, it's motivational, it's engaging, it's concise. And that would get more to depth, brief, detailed, summarized, clear, simplified. All great words to use. So, another one of those great Gemini images, power up words for prompts. You can maybe steal this, print it out, nice little poster. All right. And then I have an activity you can do on your own if you just want to practice doing some power up of prompting. Okay. And this all applies to ChatGPT 4. You see up here in the top right corner of my screen, it says it says try GPT 5. I'm going to move on to that right now. Okay. Oy. They had ChatGPT 4. They asked us all to learn about AI. We did. We felt comfortable with us. And then all of a sudden we heard scary words like agents and ChatGPT 5. Boy, nothing worse than 5 when you really don't have good mental grasp around 4. All right. So let me tell you the difference between 4 and 5. Because everything I just showed you is great if you're just using ChatGPT 4, and I use ChatGPT 4 every day, all the time. If I'm generating emails, hey, write me a friendly and supportive response to the following email. I'm telling the person that I respect their opinion. I will send them the document tomorrow, and that if they need anything else from me, feel free to schedule a Zoom call with me using my Zoom support meeting link. Okay. And then I hit the colon and I paste in the original email and it does it. And I like it because I ramble on, man. I'm a New Yorker. I love to talk. Okay. So I like to give it way too many details. So that's ChatGPT 4. ChatGPT 5 is different. It's built for agents. What's an agent? That's an agent. And I'm going to show you how to make an agent right after this. It's going to be scary. You're going to be scared, but then you're going to be able to do it. That'll be your aha moment, hopefully, get you over that hurdle, make you feel more confident, create that growth mindset. So you come back tomorrow and learn some more. So this is what an agent is. We're going to make that. Okay. And before we can make it, we need to learn how to talk to it. So what's the difference? Okay. So what's the big deal? What's the difference between ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 5? So ChatGPT 5 is built for agents. Now, I'm just going to tell you now, an agent is a digital assistant. It does stuff. It does stuff that humans used to do. It can replace humans. Okay. Not all the humans, but a lot of them, which is going to get into tomorrow, the AI apocalypse and the job apocalypse that's currently going on for college graduates. But for right now, we're just going to talk about ChatGPT 5, the fact that it's designed for agents, where ChatGPT 4 was It was built for humans like us. And I just want to point out that why do we have to call them agents? Have we seen The Matrix? Are agents good? No, they're bad. Agent Smith. Yeah, we named them agents. Why? All right, but anyway, focus, Jason, back on the topic. GPT-5 is more like your super focused R2D2. And because it's a robot, because it's an agent, it needs to be prompted differently than ChatGPT-4. So the first thing you need to know is it has a secret router brain. Okay? So since it has this secret brain, we need to pick the best model for the brain. Okay? So you need to be clear and specific. And ChatGPT 5 is super literal. Okay. If I were to say to ChatGPT 4, hey, I want you to make an assignment that's fun and engaging and cool for my students, it would make it cool. It's not going to make it frigid or cold. ChatGPT 5 will. And that's the difference between 4 and 5. 4 is fun. It's easy to talk to. It's your therapist. It gets you. It's your friend. It roots you on. ChatGPT 5 is the robot. It's like trying to program your VCR in 1983. Okay. Super literal. Can't figure it out. Hope it works. All right. So, how are we going to learn ChatGPT 5? I'm going to tell you the 4 tricks you need to know to get the best answers out of ChatGPT 5 because everything on the previous page does not apply to the agent. And here we go. Trick number 1. You need to give it smart phrases to wake up that good brain. So you need to tell it to think like something. That's important. Okay. Think like Mr. Beast planning a crazy challenge. What would be a fun coding project for high schoolers? Okay. So for ChatGPT 5, and I'm going to click try ChatGPT 5, and of course, it just says on. So I'm going to say something like, think like a 10th grade computer science teacher and create an assignment on variables. And it's important that we do that because that's going to be different than if I give it a different thing to think from. So that's the first thing. Okay. Smart phrases. Okay. That wake up the good brain. Okay. Next step, control how much you want it to talk. Okay. Tell it what you want it to do. Right. I love to just tell it, all right, this is really good, but specifically, I need a document that is 3 paragraphs long that is accompanied by a bulleted list of the key points. Okay, and you can see it literally shows me another document that it created and the key points. So this is the difference. This is where we're talking about being very literal. Okay. Next step, fix your prompt like a pro. Okay. You want it to keep rewriting it. Okay. Because here's why. Can you please rewrite this to be more fun and engaging? Now, it's rewriting it to be more fun and engaging. So now one other thing I want you to know is we can take it a step further. Okay. I asked it to rewrite this assignment to be more fun and engaging. Okay. But I can take that to a whole nother level. Okay. And in incorporating that, I could use XML fancy tags. Okay. In where I say, this is my task, this is my audience, this is the format that I want you to use. Right. And if you decide to go down this path, it can be very specific and tailored what we want the outcome to be. Okay, so let me just copy this just the way it is and paste it in here. And you can see now, it really is going to become more geared because I gave it kind of like those XML tags we used to use when we're doing XML and HTML tagging. I don't like to be very specific, but it doesn't matter what the syntax looks like. I'm just telling it what the task is, what my audience is, and what the format is. Okay. So these are the secrets of doing really good prompt writing when we're designing agents. Because here's a little trick I want to show you about agents. Okay. Agents are the future for one reason and one reason only, because companies want to make money. So what they want you to do is use ChatGPT 5. They want you to create an agent. They want you to say to the agent, I want you to give yourself, let me give you an example. I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on the assignment you just generated. What would you give yourself? So what agents allow you to do is use it to rate itself. It's saying it's a 9 out of 10. Well, I would then be able to say, I want you to take 10 minutes of compute and I want you to keep iterating yourself until you're a 10 out of 10. Can you please iterate this so that you rate yourself a 10 out of 10 and keep iterating it till you hit that mark? And it iterated it to make it a 10 out of 10. So when you ask yourself, isn't it great that we had ChatGPT 4? Why did we need 5? So this agent thing is double folded, right? It's like, yeah, it's going to make you more useful, but I find ChatGPT 4 good enough for 90% of the things I do on a daily basis, which means I shut it off in the top right hand corner. And then if I want to make an agent, I'll just make an agent and ask it to do what I need it to do. I'm not going to pay for extra compute because that's what OpenAI wants you to do. It wants you to pay them a monthly fee, and it's what Google wants you to do. And Microsoft, hey, pay us a monthly fee so that you can use our compute. And what is compute? The number of minutes it's going to process to get a better result. Okay. And that is what I feel like is the financial incentive. Um, like, hey, we had this great reasoning model. Now, how do we charge people and monetize it? So that's the difference between ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 5. And what I want to wrap up with today is I am going to walk you through how you can use a program called N8N, which is the most popular agent builder out there, to build an agent. Okay. And you'll be able to watch this video on your own time or watch the YouTube video that I am using to do this so that, yeah, you can roll this out and use this bot in your everyday work life. Okay. So we got 16 minutes. Let's get started. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is open up the final assignment that we had for today for day one. Hold. Build your own email draft bot. And honestly, as a school leader, this should be something that, like across the board, all your school leaders do to save time. Nobody has to tell you guys as principals, assistant principals, superintendents. How much time you spend on anything that doesn't involve education. Okay. Parents, students, discipline. Okay. In Brooklyn, I had 7 principals in 7 years, and then I had 1 principal for 3 years out of school. And that principal, man, she had a fleet of security guards around her. We had 1,000 kids in our high school in Brooklyn, and she spent most of her day just running the building. So to build an email draft bot that will allow you to automatically draft responses to every email you get in Gmail, pretty useful. Okay, so let's get started. So, welcome to the Robo Reply Challenge. I'm going to walk you through how you build an AI agent, or what we like to call a brainy bot. So, what is an AI agent? Okay, I used to be a chef a long, long time ago, many years ago. When I was a chef, okay, I was like an AI agent. I was your personal chef. Okay, your personal chef, it doesn't just stare at the ingredients, it follows a process, it uses tools, it remembers recipe. Okay, it takes action. So, what does an agent entail? An agent has a brain, it's got some tools, it's got memory, and it's got a prompt or what we call the brain stem, the rules that it follows. So, it has these four major components. And the brain is like the chef's knowledge. Went to culinary school, I learned how to cook. The memory, okay? I worked in restaurants, I learned how to cook. I know what works and what doesn't work. Okay, I put that in my memory bank. I have different tools I use: ovens, knives, mixers, okay? Everything, slicers, dicers, those are my tools. And then the chef's order ticket, how we cook the food, non negotiable. Follow my procedures. Food must come out the same every time. That's the brain stem. So, in order to do this, we need to create a free account at a website called N8N. And if you click on it, it takes you here. Okay. And you could see it says get started for free. And that's what I want you to click on. And you're going to sign up for an account. And I'll give you about 2 minutes to sign up for an account. It's pretty quick. All you have to do is go to your email to just click confirm. All right. Use whatever work email you have. But they give you a 14-day trial, so you can do everything I'm going to do here today. If you fall in love with it, like I have fallen in love with it, you can get a license on your own, or you can convince your work to buy you a license, which is what I will be doing very shortly. And so take your time, take a couple minutes, sign up for an account. Okay, after you sign up for an account, and I do have the detailed instructions over here, enter your email, use your Gmail if you have one. Check your email. Got to get that confirmation email. Okay. And then you'll get to what looks like your dashboard. Your dashboard is this view that you see right over here. Once you get to that point, you are set to begin building your robot reply bot. So, since we have 12 minutes, and I recommend not building this with me, but watching me build it, watch the procedure, then go back and watch the video and build it alongside the video. That's how I would recommend doing it. But everything I'm about to show you, we have detailed instructions over here with screen captures. All right, so, and we also have another video from the actual company N8N that shows you how to do exactly what I'm doing. It's a little more detailed, a little more nuanced. I like to break things down simpler. But I say right here, after we do this, if you want to learn more to personalize the email, watch this video. All right, so let's get started. You create your accounts, you get to your dashboard, and you want to click on Create Workflow. And you'll get to the screen you see here, and we want to click Add Our First Step. And what we are going to build is a robo reply bot to our Gmail account. So the first thing I need to do is make my trigger. And there's a bunch of different triggers. What makes my bot run? And for me, it's going to be a Gmail thing. So I type in Gmail, Gmail comes up. I click on Gmail and it says, here's your trigger, on message received. And I'm going to check that off. Now it says on message received. Now, the first time you do this, where it says credentials to connect with, you're going to have to click on credentials to connect with, click create new credential, and you will click right here where it says sign in with Google. Okay. It is the easiest way to do it. You will sign in with your Gmail account. When you're done signing in with your Gmail account, it will come up right here and it will say Gmail accounts authorized to API. Now, what this is doing is we're saying every time we get a Gmail email, we want to check. So it says poll times. You want to switch that to every minute. So I want to check every single minute if I got a new email. And down here, it says simplify. I want you to shut that off. Okay. What simplify means, it means it's going to clean it up. I don't want it to clean up the email. I want the whole email to come in so that I can pick and choose the parts of the email for my AI bot to read. So after I do this, I click back to Canvas in the top left corner, and you'll see I have my first thing. It is my Gmail trigger. Okay, the next thing I need to do is I need to add my AI agent. Okay, if you look in the assignment, it says part 2, introduce the star. Let's put in your AI agent. This is my AI agent over here. So let's do that. I click on my plus. I type into my search bar, AI agent, and my little robot dude shows up and I click on it. Okay, now, my AI agent. First thing I need to do is I need to click up here and I want to click define below. What do I want my agent to do? What prompt do I want to give it? Okay, this is my brain. So my prompt is I want it to write a reply to the following email. Okay, that's what I want it to do. So I'm just going to write a basic prompt. Write a reply to the following email, and then edit as a draft to the email thread. Okay, leave their thread. There you go. Now notice this wasn't me rambling on like I would do to ChatGPT 4. This is ChatGPT 5. This is an agent. I need to be concise and very literal. Okay, now I did that. Now, since I'm getting an email, okay, I want to basically tell my prompt, I want you to look at 3 parts of the email, right? And what are the 3 parts of the email I wanted to look at? I wanted to look at subject, message, and from. So I want to type in subject, message, and from. Now, you'll see up here, there's a red button, orange button, it says execute step. And I'm going to click execute step. Okay. And when I do, it says node executed successfully. Okay. What it's doing is going to my Gmail and it's seeing if I got a new message. So if I go to my Gmail up here, I don't have a new message. Let me send myself a new message quickly. Okay. So I'm going to open up a different email program right now. Okay. And I'm going to just send myself a message to that Gmail account. Okay. So I'm going to take this email. I'm going to forward this email to my Gmail account and I'm going to click send. Okay. And while I'm waiting a minute for my email to send, all right, let me go back to my assignment here. I know I'm just waiting for it to arrive. So let me go back over here. Okay. So I wrote my prompt, but what I need to do is I need to tell the prompt what the subject is, what the message is, and where the from is. Not just for this one particular email, but I need to tell it the placeholder. Like in every single email, there's a tag that is for the from, for the subject, for the message. And what I'm doing now is I'm telling it in the prompt, I want you to specifically look for these 3 things. And I'm telling it how to find it. Okay. So my email has been sent. You can see here, I got a new message in my Gmail account. I come to my workflow. And now, since I received an email, when I execute this step, it takes me over here to my schema. And in my schema, it tells me all the things I need to know. So the first thing I need is the subject. So I'm looking over here and I want to find out, where is the subject? Well, easy tip. If I click on my search bar, I can just type in subject. And you'll see right here is my subject. And I'm going to grab this box and just put my subject right there. Okay. So you see this green box? Let me just cut it and put it right next to subject. So I'm telling it anytime in an email I'm looking for my subject, it'll be attached to this tag. Well, now let me go find the from. That's an easy one. Type in from. And I'm looking for my from. Here it is, from. And I drag it and I drop it right there. And now I'm looking for my message. Now, the message one is a little tricky. Your message one is actually referred to as text from text as HTML. When you receive an email, it's written in HTML. And if I type in text, this box right here, text as HTML, that's where all your text is in your message. All right, so my prompt is coming along nicely. I told it to reply to the following email. I then said, edit as a draft to the email. I told you where to find the subject, the message, the from. We talked about XML tagging, making it easier for the AI to find out what to talk about. So the last thing I want to do is I want to let it know that this information comes from the email. And that's the beginning of the information. And that's how you represent the end. All right, so now I pretty much have an awesome prompt written. Okay. Everything looks ready to go. So I'm going to come back up here to back to Canvas. And you'll notice I now have an AI agent. And now very quickly, I'm going to finish this off. That's right. I'm about to say very quickly. So I need to add now a chat mode. I need to hook up OpenAI. Okay. Now, when you first click on this, there will be something yellow that appears at the top of the screen that says, you can use this free OpenAI model. Okay. So you could type in OpenAI chat model. Okay. And you could just use that as your OpenAI chat model. That's all you have to do. Just tell it that's what I want to use as my reasoning. Okay. And when you actually first click on it, there'll be a little yellow thing that says you're going to get 1,000 free tokens to use in chat. I want you to click on that. That's what you're going to use as your AI model. Now, the other thing you need to do is give it memory. Click on memory. You're going to click on simple memory. It's free. It's what you need to use. You then click back to Canvas. Now your AI agent has a model that it's going to use. It's got memory and it's got a trigger. The very last thing you needed to do is now write the draft. So I'm going to go to tools because an agent needs a tool. And I'm going to click on Gmail. I'm going to write Gmail. Lucky for me, it has a built-in Gmail tool. So you're going to see here in my Gmail tool, the first thing I need to do is make sure it's using my Gmail account. Set automatically the resources message. All right. My operation says send. So now let me create what I want. Okay. I don't want to create a message. I want to create a draft. So I want to switch my resource to draft. And then I want my operation to be create. So I am going to have this Google Gmail tool create this. Now, here's the next thing I need to do. Okay. I needed to generate a subject using AI. So what do? I click on expression. And here's where we're going to do the most technical thing we're going to do today. You're going to make double curly brackets. And when I make double curly brackets, okay, a box opens up. You're asking it to put a method in here and then declare the method. So all you're going to do is go to this box and you're going to choose where it says method, AI, from AI. There you go. And then I'm going to put a single quote, and I'm going to write the word subject. Okay. Look at what I typed. Make sure yours looks the same. This is the only technical thing we have to do. So using AI, I am going to have it generate a new subject for the response. Okay, now I need to also do the same. I need to use AI to generate the message. So I'm going to click on expression. I'm going to do my double curly brackets again. I'm going to scroll down under methods to where it says from AI. I'm going to put a single quote in there and I'm going to type in the word message. And then I'm going to click out of it like that. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm telling it that I want it to draft a message. Okay. Now, let's take a deep breath. I'm going to click back to canvas. My agent now looks complete. I want to walk you through it one more time. The trigger is sent. Every minute, we're going to check to see if we get a message. My agent is going to write a reply to the email and then put it in a draft email thread. It's going to look at the subject, the message, and the from. Okay, good. It's going to use OpenAI to be smart. It's going to use this simple memory as a brain to store stuff. And then it's going to use this Gmail toolkit to make the response. Okay. And when I click execute workflow, it takes a while to run. So let me do it. Okay, so here we go. I want to now see if it works. So the first thing I want to do with everybody as we wrap up is share my Microsoft Outlook with you. I'm going to make a new email and it's going to be to my Gmail account. And it's going to be called, where is my pizza delivery order? Dear pizza dude, I ordered a pizza 4 hours ago and it still has not arrived. I don't know where it is, but because I didn't get the pizza, everyone is starving and we incorrectly gave one of my party guests food they were allergic to. They're now on the way to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, the car broke down and got a flat tire. And I blame Pizza Dude for all of this, for not delivering my pizza. Can you give me an update on the order? I need to know what's going on. Do I get a refund? This is the worst pizza order ever. Sincerely, Jason. Okay, so I made my message and I'm sending it. Okay. And let me now jump back into my bot. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just waiting to get confirmation from Gmail that it received a new message so that my bot can take care of it. Okay. You could see here that you can just hit play if you want and test out your bot to see if everything works correctly. All right. But what we're really going to do is we are going to run it and then we're going to go back in and see if it works. So I see up here, my inbox has switched to 189 emails. Let's execute our workflow. Okay, it's going to start executing. Okay, let me come back over here, refresh my screen. All righty. So here is the email. And you can see right away, it automatically says draft. So here's the email I sent. Dear pizza dude, I'd ordered the pizza and the whole world came to an end. And here's the automatic generated response that the bot drafted and then placed in the email thread. All I have to do is hit send. Dear Jason, I am very sorry to hear about the issues with your pizza order and the unfortunate events that followed. I completely understand how distressing the situation is for you and your guest. I am urgently looking into the status of your order and will provide you with an update as soon as possible. Please, sincerely, Pizza D. This is a perfect draft email response. Okay. It was generated right here. You could see it executed the workflow. It finished executing perfectly. There is a green mark next to everything. So that is how you build an agent. Tomorrow, we're going to use this N8N platform again, and we are actually going to take it to the next level. And we are going to create an RAG agent. An RAG agent is one where you upload your own information to and then create your own chatbot based on only that information. So, you can upload the rules of golf and create a chatbot that can answer any question based on the rules of golf. You can upload a course exam description into it. And then that way a teacher can ask any question about the exam and get an answer based on the course exam description. So that is where we'll finish. We'll keep moving along this path. We'll continue building a bot, okay, another agent, and we'll design that RAG system so that you guys really can take this to the next level. All right, there's one thing to prompt in ChatGPT 4. There's another thing to write ChatGPT 5 prompts into agents. So if you want to personalize your agent even more, you can watch this quick video. I've already walked you through the process and cleaned it up for how I would teach it to an individual. The gentleman who does this video also shows you how to basically tell the AI bot a little more about yourself, a little bit about the way you sound, so that the AI response in the draft not only sounds professional, but more like you. Because that's the goal, is to sound like you. All right, so as we wrap up today, remember, I will be sending out a recording of this to everybody. In the recording will be the link to join the workshop if you have not already done so. Tomorrow, we will enable all the day 2 assignments we'll be working on. Just to give you a highlight of what we'll be covering, once again, a very quick icebreaker on AI-resistant assessment strategies, just something so that we can give you a few examples so that you can go back to your school and meet with your instructional strategies team or department chairs and start saying, here's some examples of AI-proof or AI-resistant, we like to say, assessment strategies. Let's build more in this spirit, okay? We are going to take some time to build that RAG agent. Now that we built our first agent, moving and building a second agent will be quicker. If you are not able to build your agent on your own, reach out to me. I can help you build it using Zoom, share your screen, walk you through the project process. We will do a deep dive into the ethical AI as the new core competency, that employers are looking for. We'll talk about AI tools, specifically Mosaic and Notebook LM, that you should be using on a daily basis to save you time. And we will end with the AI apocalypse in the entry level and college graduate job market so that we can better prepare the kids that you're working with now in your schools so that they can find jobs that are in demand when they come out of school, not jobs that are kind of being weaned out by this technology. So with all that being said, I'm going to stay on for around 20 minutes or so. If you have any questions or need one-on-one support from me, I'm going to stay on. Thank you so much for attending day 1 of this workshop. To the few people who joined in person, thank you for joining us in person. We did have a lot of people sign up, but because of the time, they were not able to join us live. That's why we'll be sending out the recording every day. So thank you for joining. If you can attend tomorrow, I'll send you the recording anyway. If you can, can't wait to see you. And if you need any additional support, just hang out with me. Thank you, everybody.